Now, Steven, a few weeks ago, I remember we were having a conversation, and you said WWE needs to start promoting WWE Divas Championship matches as co-main events. And I screamed, no, no, hell no. And exactly what happened on Monday Night Raw, that's what I was attempting to avoid. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I wasn't doing PWF Empire Live, I would have turned off the fucking TV. Because here's the thing. I don't have to explain to you all that I am a huge proponent of women in wrestling, improving the presentation, the position of women in wrestling. Hell, look at that. My favorite wrestler of all time right there, friggin' Sasha Banks. My favorite wrestler today on that fucking wall, because I support women's wrestling and I love when the quality is produced, and I love when they're given the opportunity to shine and they're given the opportunity to show off their talent. What I do not love, in fact, what gives me great disdain, is when the main roster, they do this BS where they're trying to peddle this whole Divas revolution and jumping on a social movement, and then nothing is organic. There ain't a damn thing that's organic about this. Nothing natural, nothing flows at all. And you want to talk about a flow, it flowed right into some bullshit that capped off Monday Night Raw. And the fact that they brought Ric Flair's dead child, Charlotte's deceased brother into the situation, it honestly seemed like in very poor taste to me. I'm not one of those guys who's offended very easily, but I know that they did that specifically because they were forcing the Divas into the main event, and they had to do something to turn up the intensity. They had to do something to make this feel important. They had to do something to make this feel as if it warranted being in the main event slot. And the fact that that's what they had to go to, that really pissed me off. And it was just the last straw for me. Like, I hated everything about this. I am not a person that is for forcing the Divas into a position where they haven't risen to naturally. If you wanted the Divas to be in the main event segment of Monday Night Raw, why not promote them as if they're a co-main event every fucking week? Why not give them a level of importance with their booking and actually put effort into booking them? Hell, I forgot that Charlotte was even the damn Divas champion at all, and the next thing I know, she's in the friggin' main event of Monday Night Raw, and all of a sudden her championship match is important to where we need a contract signing in the final segment of the show. I just hated everything about this.
I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not as offended as you are about the mention of Flair's son, mostly because I tend to think that if they bring someone like that up, it's with the approval of pretty much every party involved. And when you're a wrestling family, I think the sensibility towards this kind of thing is a lot less than ours. Is that the right word? They don't get they're not as sensitive about it as we might be, because to them wrestling is their life, and I think the perspective is, well, if this person was still alive, would they mind dropping a name like that in a promo or in a segment or in a storyline? And I tend to think with these wrestling families, the answer is no, they wouldn't mind. In fact, they probably love it. They probably think it's awesome.
I'm willing to bet what you're saying right now, it probably is true. But the thing is, for me, I'm not speaking on behalf of the Flair family. I'm not speaking on behalf of Reid Flair. I don't want to send that message in any way, shape, or form. It's me speaking as a wrestling fan and a fan of the Divas, and knowing that they are worth more than this. I just so happens, over these last few days, I've been watching a lot of stuff with the build-up for Bayley versus Sasha Banks when they main evented the most recent NXT special, and I saw how natural everything was, how flowing everything was, and how when they had a segment that closed off an episode of NXT, it was actually the segment where the Iron Man match between those two was announced. I saw how they were in character. I saw how they spoke to each other in character with the storyline, and every single word that came out of their damn mouth, you can follow it from point to point. When Sasha Banks was talking about how great the match was, I'm like, okay, yeah, I watched that match at Brooklyn. It was awesome. And every single thing that they said, it could be plotted on a friggin' timeline, because that's the way that the story flowed on TV. We had a bunch of shit in here that I had absolutely no idea about. Like, I know I do this and I do PWF Empire Live and I talk about wrestling all of the friggin' time, but was it just me, or was this my first time hearing that Charlotte and Paige were actually friends before this Diva Revolution started. I knew they were down in NXT together, but they never brought that up on WWE TV. And even if they did, it wasn't signified to a point where I can actually remember it and say, okay, well, they have forged a connection there. It was all bullshit the way that it was presented on TV. They made it seem as if it was some elementary school dodgeball game where the teacher, the coach, Stephanie McMahon, came in and said, okay, well, you're on her team and you're on her team. Come on, gather up, get your dodgeballs, and go to work. That's what they made it seem like. But they brought up all of this stuff that I had no idea about, once again, because they forced the Divas into this segment and they had to throw something on there to ramp up the intensity. That's what I had a problem with, the fake, phony ass, inorganic bullshit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what you had here on this contract signing actually, if it had been consistently featured, would have been great, because I like that they brought that element into this contract signing, but it's just too damn late to start doing this here and now at this point in time. You know, it's too late. You gotta wait until the go-home show of right before Survivor Series to now suddenly, boom, oh, wait, here's the story 6 days before the match. It's just, you have to progressively get there, and unfortunately this story went all over the place.